And welcome back to Cheche. This is our final part, and we're taking in your questions. Thank you for sending them in, your comments as well. Let us begin with this. How does this new system advantage a Kenyan in terms of opportunity for jobs and future studies outside Kenya?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you. In terms of jobs, I think it's going to expand space, because once you have skills and talents, it means you can go to various areas or fields where you want to work. So that, in a sense, we don't have to import. I'm sorry to use this example. We don't have to import certain skills from other countries, because we have them. I think you had even people in entrepreneurs complaining that the kind of people they're getting don't have the skills. They still have to take them for further training out of the country. So that then will advantage them. Now, out of the country, they are saying, that is where the world has gone to. Yeah, if you look at countries like Germany, South Africa, several countries, including African countries, I mean, this is the direction the world has taken. So actually we'll be struggling to catch up with what others have done. All right, so another comment here. An education system without national exams is a big joke. I wonder who said there won't be any national exams. I think maybe I call it differently.
You actually.
We shall be having both formative and summative. Summative is what we call as the national exams. So that will never change. Only
there will be summative
we
exams.
We will have summative exams and formative summative assessment. Only that we have removed it from primary, because at that stage it does not serve us right. When you come to the higher levels, for example, when people will go into after seniors, will you want to go to the university, you will sit exams.
So before university there is a national
There will be national exams.
Okay.
So but before the second level, which is now known as secondary, there will be no exam.
There will be assessments. There will be exams. I think what we need to understand, probably, which I have not explained probably well, is that it will not just be that summative evaluation. It will be some. I'll give you an example of, for example, Nigeria, Ghana now. 30% of their, grade is taken from the formative. Then 70% they get in the summative. So exams will still be there. Only that their format will have been changed, and we don't just say that you must have science, maybe a maths and English for you to move to the next.
But this is a contradiction of what you told us earlier. So what is the objective of these exams? The
exams will be done to assess as you move to the next level, as you go into your interest. You need to know which
to determine if you are ready to go to the next level.
To determine your areas of talent and interest, not whether you are ready to go to the next level. Because next level you will go, only that you will go into what you think you can do.
Okay, so the cards are there to determine your interest and not your progression. So either way,
the exam is help you identify the areas where you are strong, other than blocking you from moving to the next grade. That is how it happens all over the world in places that we admire to be. Not necessarily to determine that this number of people can now move, these ones will not move. No. Okay. It will to help you. This number of people will move into woodwork. This number of people want to go into electrical work. This number of people want to go into music, because that is where the talent is.
And so will there be a ranking of students the way we have right now? Number 1, 2, 3?
We will be competing against standards and not against one another. So ranking will become irrelevant. For example, if I want to go into football, how will you rank me with somebody who wants to go and do maybe biology?
But Daktari, if we have 3,000 children who want to go into a football academy, and the football academies in the whole country only have 250 chances, you have to rank people so that you get the 260 who get this sort chances.
I think what we are going to do as a country, and this is what we have proposed to government, is at the beginning, because not all schools can have all the facilities. And I think the way natural human behavior are, you will hardly find that when you open up that kind of space, that you will have so many thousands wanting to go into a specific area. So I don't know how you want us to define ranking, because ranking here might be is that this person has performed better, but not ranking in terms of this person now is being blocked because
from progressing to the next level.
I don't think that will be the intention.
Okay, I think we've covered that. Apart from the structures, by the way, please send us your names and where you're writing from. We'd really love to know who's addressing these questions. But someone else says, apart from the structures in the new curriculum, how does the syllabus look like? Will the same old subjects remain?
I think we presented that on 30th. We presented what we call the learning areas. There are some that will remain. There are some that have been modified. There are some that have been merged. So I think that will be that is already in the public domain.
Maybe you could just say that again. Generally, are there any scrapped entirely?
I don't think there's any that is scrapped entirely, but there are those that have been merged and those that have been introduced.
Some examples in terms of mergers?
Well, like when you look at, well, let me start with the ones that are there. Things like biology, chemistry, that is at a higher level, will still be there. Now, when you go to lower primary, when you come to the sciences, what we would call the sciences, it now entails several other learning areas, like now health and nutrition have been put inside there so that they might be bigger. So you give them less information, that you don't give such deep content, but children start appreciating certain environmental requirements.
Okay, anything entirely new?
Anything entirely new? Yes, we have literacy, which have introduced at a lower level, which was not there. We have numeracy, which was not there. We have what we call community learning, which was
people would understand that as just being math and
learning, reading.
The way that literacy is such that it cuts across. You do when you're giving a child marks, the writing that goes on there should also be accurate and help a child learn something on how to be literate. So literacy, therefore, is not just confined to languages, and numeracy is not just confined to mathematics. So these are new areas that we are introducing, because you notice that there have been a complaint about our literate level, the level of literacy among our learners.
Someone says, I love this discussion. My question is, will the new system rather affect the books that are being used? I own a bookshop and would like to know which books will be used.
I think maybe we will deal with that when we get there, but a few things here we'll have to change.
There will be new books.
Yeah.
Sorry, and talking of subjects, new areas that have been introduced, are you reconsidering reintroducing mother tongue?
Incidentally, if you look at again, you can...
Research has shown that it has a major contribution in quick learning.
You can look at our website because it's there, but let's call it the language of the catchment area, as our policy states, which in some cases, for some people is mother tongue. If you're in a bit of cosmopolitan area, it could be a language like Kiswahili. But yes, we have introduced mother tongue, and now somebody can learn mother tongue up to a very high level. You can do research and become a specialist in mother tongue. And that happens, in many parts of the world. So it is there, yes, one of the new areas.
Another morning, what will happen to adult education, particularly for those who study at home and sit for the final exam, since the exam is no longer, you say, important in this system?
There are provisions for adult and continuing learning, and that is captured in a very different way, so that their learning as adults should not be dependent on them passing an exam, because there will always be assessment that they can be given, and at the end of it all there will be some kind of summative assessment. As I said, it's a balance of formative and summative, so there will be something for them. Kindly
tell parents well in advance what role they will play and how they will be affected, especially monetarily. That's from Nixon Ndogere.
We have a component which you have introduced as a cornerstone of the new curriculum framework that we call parental empowerment and engagement. We want parents to be a little more engaged and constructively engaged in the process of their children's learning. In terms of monetary, I think the things remain the same. So the benefits they've been getting from the government, that will not be affected.
Take this a bit further. Yes. How are you going to ensure that parents are involved and empowered? I think that's what Nicholas is asking.
We are already developing a guideline, and this can be done from the Parent Teachers Association, which already exists in schools. So that once you have a guideline of how they're supposed to operate and they go as they're normally invited, you don't go there to listen to probably the principal giving instructions of the buildings they want to put up, the amount of fees that will be paid, but they can engage among themselves, even in groups, in terms of their various classes, to know what exactly are they supposed to know about their learning. How are their children engaging in school, so that as a child comes out, a child does not just come and tell you that I want to become a rapper, and all along you never knew that the child was performing well, or that was what their interest was. All along
you never knew what that is. Sorry, let me cut you short so that we can move on. I think also there's a primary concern in that question, which is monetarily. Do you expect the cost of learning at the end of the day to be significantly higher, other than what you've discussed in terms of the budgetary input?
I think it will be lower.
You believe it will be lower?
Down.
Okay. What are you going to do with private schools? That's another question.
Incidentally, private schools are schools like, curriculum is not for public or private schools. It's for all Kenyans. Incidentally, the Private Schools Association are represented in the Curriculum Reform Steering Committee. It's a fairly inclusive process. So they're working with us the journey, and they know what we are doing. And there will be schools just like any other school. Like now, this year, the government is paying exam fees for all children, regardless of whether you're in a private school or in a public school. So it remains the same.
The proposed syllabus is more so like the skill system 844, which was self-employment complete with PE and games initiative, but changed with time. Should we waste all that money just to change the class names? If 844 failed due to funding, how will we get monies for a similar yet more complicated system requiring extra immediate classes at schools?
I think one thing that we never did with 844 is this: we never developed a basic education curriculum framework, what we launched on 30th. That remains a pillar of what will guide learning, so that somebody does not just wake up and decide today we want to remove this particular subject like they did with the technical learning, because those pillars remain the same. You can only adjust what is within the pillar. So I think that was lacking in the previous system, and that is now what we have.
So what would have been so hard in just tweaking the previous, the current system, the 844, rather than getting to a completely new? Because
we never brought out a foundational pillar that was going to be based on. Number one, currently, for example, we have a mission for the basic education curriculum framework. And what we have there is developing every learner's potential. Okay. That is a fundamental mission for this curriculum that will take long to change. Now, when you internalize, what does it mean to develop every learner's potential? It means that every learner has something to offer, and what every learner has to offer may differ from one to the other. The fact that this potential does not mean I'm not very good. So these are the pillars that we lacked in 844, and that is why somebody could just come and twinkle it. But now when you come, you have to go to that mission and see whether what you're doing fits in that mission. All
right, we're counting down to just the last few minutes, so we'll try and wrap this up quickly. Tell that man not to cheat us. Ouch. This proposal works well in developed countries where resources are unlimited, not a third world country where there is massive competition for limited resources. Hey, we're a middle income country.
And that kind of pessimism lies in a big percentage of
and I think why it is our responsibility to come the way I've come here today and do this through other channels like the churches, the civil society, so that people get to appreciate that which one is better, staying the way we are and wasting over 470,000 in quotes of those who can't go to the university and making them feel like they have failed, or trying to embrace them and allow them to do what they think they can do. What does it require, for example, to try and be an artist? It just requires you to start with pen and paper. So when we talk of working in the developed world and not developed world, where do we want to go to as a country? What are our projections? What is Vision 2030? What does it require of us as a country? I think these are the questions we need to ask ourselves.
How many systems are Kenyans going to acquire? Tanzania, Uganda, and other African countries have never made changes to their systems.
I don't understand.
These are viewer questions, by the way.
Well, I don't know what they mean by systems, because what we are dealing with is organization of learning, not necessarily.
Perhaps let me venture that it is the various reviews that we saw to the 844 system first of all take place, and then now introducing a whole new system.
But let me ask you, I'm happy about that question. Is Tanzania the model that you want to copy because they have not changed the system? I think we should ask ourselves those questions, because as a country, we have to look, where do we want to go? So if Tanzania has not changed, does it mean Tanzania is leading the pack and we want to follow?
All right, good question. How does the new curriculum benchmark with other curriculums internationally? Our children will interact with the world, and therefore they need to match or be better than the best curriculum in the world. James Ochami.
Perfect. I think it matches very well. That one is well. We have done enough.
That's your answer.
Benchmarking. We have read so well. We have looked at how the other systems work.
Now, before we finish, and I just
sorry, I need him to answer this question substantively. So what does that mean practically? That in the system that you've developed, you have put it side by side against IGCSE and whatever other learning systems are out there, and found that you're going to adopt which parts of it to make it similar, so that you can make the assertion that it's best.
Incidentally, what we did after we developed our framework, we have a matrix, maybe I wish I had it, where we have taken African countries in terms of their organization of learning. We have taken countries in the East Africa, countries from across the world, sample countries from across the world, and then you put Kenya in red just to mark it out of the others, and you see how it works and how they have organized their learning, and that is how you see where you fit within your region, within Africa, and within the world. So you don't borrow, but you just see where you fit. And don't forget, I talked of organizational learning. I know people are tending to put a lot of emphasis on the structure, but a structure without properly organized learning within it really will not help this country. We focus on the learning, then we look at the structure that can carry this learning to the last end.
A big challenge that we have as a country, even if you were to give everybody an opportunity to pursue their talent, is the issue of corruption and the issue of ethnicity. How is this new system going to handle?
The new system is putting a lot of emphasis on the values and ethics. Actually, as I talk to you now, I have a team that is working on what we call value-based education in Naivasha, a large team, and what they're trying to see is how best to embed values within a way of life through learning. So you will not tell people stop corruption, because we have really been telling them, but you have to give them a kind of training. At young age, people really appreciate and cling to what they believe is supposed to be good. And if you give them training from early years, and we also start trying to change the attitude of the society, we hope that by the end of it all, they will come out better people than probably we are now.
Please tell Dr. Juan to stop PRing the evil lies to Kenyans. I read that one just for we need to revert back to the 844 system. Of a final one, because we're out of time. This is Sally from Nairobi. We are discussing schools that are having over 100 students in class. How will that work? The British system has at most 15 students per class. Class sizes, which is integral to learning, and a lot of the stuff we're talking about now is practical learning. How will you handle that?
I think how we are going to do the class is that classes is to reduce the amount of content that you give children, so that as a teacher gives the content, they are also aware that there are those who may not learn very fast and try to accommodate them. As it is now, we are hurrying to finish the syllabus. You've heard teachers saying that they cleared the syllabus for Form 4 in Form 3, then they start the revision because they're looking at the final grade. But if we reduce the amount, for example in lower primary, the amount of content that you give children, regardless of their numbers, then the teacher has an opportunity to try and identify those who may be having challenges and try to help them. So class size will always remain a problem, but we have to accommodate it within. The teachers must be trained to see how they can deal with it. And allow me to say that finally, we are not inventing the wheel. Incidentally, even Tanzania went competence-based curriculum. We are not inventing the wheel in terms of competence-based curriculum. In South Africa, they call it outcomes-based curriculum. I told you in Rwanda, they have already rolled out this year. So let us also be careful not to think that what we are doing is only being done in Kenya. This is the way the world is going.
Joanne puts it in a different way. She says, is it true that this new system has been copy-pasted from Israel?
Oh, incidentally, Israel is not one of the countries that we have benchmarked with, but I don't know what the system looks like. But I know they are also doing very well. They are very practical oriented. They are competency based, at least to that extent I'm aware of. And so I have a problem with this copy pasting. If we copy pasted, we would have rolled out this curriculum in 2015, because I told you we started this process much earlier, and we have really been looking at it and consulting people. So if we copy pasted, maybe we'd been up and running now.
All right.
Yeah.
From the inquiries by our viewers, there's a general concern that this information has not trickled down as much as it should to the common man. Probably, as a parting shot from me, this is where your challenge lies. For it to be able to succeed, there must be the buy-in effect.
I think what we needed to do was to get the framework approved, as was done on 30th, and now we need to hit the road and let Kenyans be aware of what has been proposed and how we want to go about it. And I think that is why we are partly here, isn't it?
All
That's
right.
why these comments are coming up.
And thank you so much for coming to the program, Dr. Julius John, who is the Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Kenya Institute of Curriculum Development. Asante sana.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for answering our questions. Thank you for watching Cheche. I am Ann Kiguta. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you tomorrow on Citizen Live at 9 and Opinion Court. Bye-bye for now.